Hello and welcome to Unboxing Marcus Hellyer. So there were those two short articles which were part of a larger report, The Case for Autonomous Systems and Building Trust in Autonomous Systems. So I'll be covering some of the main topics from those two readings from Marcus Hellyer. So let's see what's in my box. The very first thing that is in my box is a very simple form of an automated machine. This is a wind-up toy. When I give it a very specific input, when I wind it up, I get a very specific output. That's the most basic form of automation, is something that when you give it a specific input, you get a specific output back. Now there's an entire spectrum of things that count as automated systems or automated machines. This is the most simple form. Simple input, simple output. Now, the most sophisticated forms of autonomous systems are going to have more adaptability and flexibility in response to a wider range of inputs. So we're talking about a broad range of different things. Ultimately, he ends up focusing primarily on things that are semi-automated or that require some sort of human interaction. The second thing in my box is a toy bomb. This is a cap bomb. You're supposed to put caps in here and then you throw it and it makes an exploding noise. Now, this is only a toy, but this is still a bomb. So the reason why I chose this is because Marcus Hellyer is concerned primarily with weapons. Because he's talking about automated systems in the context of the military, he's talking not only about offensive weapons, but he's also talking about automated systems that have defensive capabilities, such as the automated system that the Australian Navy has been using for years in order to locate and dispose of ordnance or mines. The last thing in my box is my trusty pair of dish gloves. So I'm going to use my dish gloves to explain the 5 Ds as discussed by Marcus Hellyer. So these 5 Ds are dirty, dull, dear, difficult, and dangerous. So he talks about them in a slightly different order. So when I talk about it, I'll actually try here to keep his specific order in mind. So the 5 Ds: dirty, dull, dangerous, dear, and difficult. So he argues that the use of automated systems makes the most sense when one or all of these 5 Ds apply. I use my gloves in situations where I don't want to get dirty. Similarly, this is when automated systems are going to be the most useful, is when we're literally keeping human beings from getting dirty, dusty, or grimy. So just like my gloves are a form of technology that's appropriate to prevent me from getting dirty, automated weapons systems and other forms of autonomous systems are going to be useful in the military. Then we've also got dull. A lot of tasks are very boring and require a lot of endurance. So Hellyer's claim is that having an automated system in place is going to replace that need for human endurance. So these gloves do give me some additional endurance. We might say the bright yellow color makes doing dishes a little less dull or boring, but it also gives me endurance because it is protecting my hands. So my hands get dry quite easily, so it's about giving my hands more endurance. Third D, dangerous. This one is perhaps the most intuitive to understand, which is that in situations where it is dangerous to send in human combatants, there's an advantage to using fully autonomous or semi-autonomous systems in order to reduce the risk of human life, or the risk to human life. Fourth D is dear. So this is about using automated systems as a way to replace using those resources that are the most dear to us. So what might be dear to us might be a very rare form of technology, or we might talk about how dear and how valuable human lives are. So in the case of my dish gloves, my hands are quite dear to me. And don't get me wrong, I wash my hands regularly, even a month or more ago, before any of this pandemic was even in the news, but especially over the last month, I have been washing my hands a lot more diligently, so my hands have been getting dry. So my hands are quite dear to me. I want to protect my hands. I want to keep them safe. My hands only have so much moisture and hydration. That is a dear, limited resource that I want to protect by using my yellow gloves. Last but not least, difficulty. Now, in the case of my gloves, they probably make doing dishes, if anything, a little more difficult because they decrease my dexterity. But in a lot of cases, especially when we're talking about combat roles, there are difficult or strenuous jobs that are going to be better off for everybody if we replace them with automated or semi-automated systems. This is at least Marcus Hellyer's argument. Now, we can tell that he is coming from a very specific point of view because he's writing this report specifically with the intention of trying to increase trust in automated systems, but also trying to make the case for automated systems. So he's very clear with his own personally vested interest, with his own bias. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that tomorrow. Please do check out my slides that I've just posted on the Google Classroom. Again, I hope everybody is safe and healthy, and take care. We'll see you soon.